welcome to another edition of Almost Martha. And I'm just back from London, so I have scones on my mind. So I'm gonna make some scones today, but they're kind of very special scones because I'm having a surprise brunch today. And I have a coffee cake in the oven. Let me tell you, you ever want to use a mix? This is the one to use. This Crustasi's cinnamon swirl cake. I know I have one on the website, cinnamon swirl coffee cake, and it's really, really good. But sometimes you don't have time for that, right? So you can use one of these. No shame in that. That's what I'm doing. But I'm also making some very special scones because I have some people coming that are sensitive to sugar. So I'm going to be making it with almond flour and honey. And I hope they're really going to be good. And I will go through the steps now with you. Scones are super easy. Don't be afraid of them. And while we had clotted cream in England, I'm going to make just sort of a loose whipped cream, which will be delicious with these. The clotted cream really is more like a very soft butter. I have butter, but I think a very loose whipped cream would be really, really good with this. So that's what we're going to do. So hang on. Right on cue, that's Annie saying, "Hi, everybody." She's doing her favorite thing, which is trying to go and bark at the neighbor's house. So they'll let her in and pet her when she runs home. There she goes. There she goes, Annie. Thank you. Thank you. She can be cooperative sometimes. Okay, let's get going. Let's get going. I have 2 cups of almond flour. I'm going to put all the dry ingredients together first, and I have a 3/4 tablespoon of baking soda. Hold on, come on now. Let's fill that up. It might be time for a new box of baking soda. Come on, come on. There we go. Let's scrape off the top. Put that in. Then I have 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And we're just going to make sure it's really a 1/4 teaspoon. Perfect. Put that in. So those are all of our dry ingredients except for our fruit. But first I'm just going to mix this up together a little bit. And now I'm going to put 1/3 cup of golden raisins. Okay. And now I'm also going to add some walnuts. And I would say this is going to be about 1/3 cup as well. But I'm going to chop them roughly. So these scones are going to be sliced, so you don't want gigantic hunks of walnuts, or that's going to make your slicing job very difficult. So we are just going to chop these not super fine, but fine enough that we won't have to struggle to cut our scones. Okay. All right. So I said that's about 1/3 cup. Let's just see. Just see if I'm right. Cut these a little more. Yeah, there you go. 1/3 cup. And maybe just a little to grow on. I'll just throw it in there. Okay, so my dry ingredients are now all mixed together. Now we're going to add all of our wet ingredients together. And we're going to start with 2 eggs. And you know I'm very nervous about putting eggs into a dish, but this is actually a little different because there's nothing in here yet. So I think I'll just go right in here. Perfect. Got 2 eggs. And now I'm going to wash my hands. It's nuclear material, so I'm always a little sensitive to that. Okay, I melted 2½ tablespoons of butter, and I have my wonderful vanilla bean paste, Annie. Well, I know that sound, and that sound is Daddy's coming home. That's what that sound is. So, any minute now. All right, so I'm adding. They said 1/2 teaspoon in a recipe that I read, but you know me, I'm going to add a whole teaspoon. because I like that vanilla. And we're also going to add about a tablespoon of honey. I'm judging this by eye because I don't like to put floppy things into a tablespoon and try to get them out. So I think that's about a tablespoon. Okay. I'm just looking over to make sure I've added everything properly. So now I'm just going to stir this mixture to get everything to just blend together very well. That vanilla bean paste is a little gloppy. Honey is a little gloppy. So I just need to make sure it's fully incorporated into the egg. Okay, and there you go. Final step is that 2.5 tablespoons of butter. Now I'm going to mix that in. Butter was not hot. We don't want it to cook the eggs, so the butter was just sort of lukewarm at that point. Okay. And there we go. Now we are simply going to add the wet ingredients to the dry ingredients. But before I do that, I'm just going to wipe this down. Nice little soapy sponge, because we will be using this to prepare our scones for the oven. Make sure you're always working with a very clean surface. And to that point, I think just to make it easier on myself, what am I going to do? I'm going to line this with parchment paper. It does make it so much easier. Okay. That is the final end of my gigantic Costco roll of parchment paper. It's lasted a long time. Okay, now I'm going to add the wet ingredients to the dry ingredients. Y'all have no idea what was just going on in here. I have a friend over today, and she has been dog wrangling this entire time. Because Daddy did come home and the dogs were going nuts. Well, Annie was going nuts, and she was wrangling all the dogs for me. Oh, Lordy. Lordy, Lordy, Lordy. All right. They do keep things exciting, those little doggies. Okay, so now I'm just mixing it together. And we don't want to overmix this. So just sort of lightly turn it around until you see that wet mixture has enveloped the dry mixture totally. And we don't want to overwork it. Okay, I believe we're there. Oh, there's lots of excitement. The dogs are running around. Very exciting, very exciting. Okay. All right, I think we have it. So now I'm just gonna put this mixture right on my parchment paper, and it's great because parchment paper will keep it from really sticking. This is a very wet dough, so just be. All right, so now we're gonna take this dough, and it is very wet dough, and I think that's the consequence of using almond flour too. So I'm just gonna pat it out. We want to get this into a disc shape. Yeah, boy, this is really, really sticky. So I think just for me, they can have flour. So I'm just going to put a little bit of flour on top, just so we can handle it a little bit easier. Okay. We want to get it into a nice shape, going for a round disc. And then we're going to cut it like we would cut a pizza pie. A pizza pie. Well, I want to make one of those too. Okay. All right. Well, there we have a nice circle. Looks good. I'm going to wash my hands. Get all that dough off. Okay. Okay, so now, yeah, this did not work at all. Unless you you know, sprinkle it with flour first. So bear that in mind. Bear that in mind. Okay. So now I'm just gonna cut it like I would a pizza. We want to get triangles. So I'm gonna get some nice triangles. Okay. I'm gonna gently lift one up. You know. Ah, saints be praised, came right up. I'm putting this on a pan that's lined with silicone. You can use, of course, parchment paper or anything like that. Yeah, I don't want to crowd it too much. So I'm going to start a second pan. I'm going to put these last two pieces on. Okay. All right, I'm just going to put these last two. My oven will not take a full sheet pan. So if you can take a full sheet pan, I'm sure you can get them all on one pan. But my special fancy oven can only take half a sheet pan. So there you go. I just have to make a little accommodation. Okay. So now we're going to put these in the oven at 350 degrees, and we're going to keep an eye on them while they bake. We'll check in on them in about 15 minutes and see where we are. Ready? Okay. See how we're doing. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Very nice. It says to bake for about 10 or 12 minutes. I might have gone a tad over that. I was just so afraid they weren't going to be done. But they look great. They look great. So now we're going to let these cool completely. And then we're going to put a little icing on some of them, not all of them. But yeah, they look pretty good. Oh, I can't wait to taste them. Well, they have all cooled. I think I probably could have taken them out a minute earlier, but that's fine because we're going to put a little bit of icing on them and then we're going to serve them with cream. So I think it'll be fine. It'll be fine. You know, we have to be gentle with ourselves. Okay, so I've got 2/3 cup of powdered sugar. To that, I'm adding a little tad of vanilla and a little tad of cream, probably about a tablespoon worth of heavy cream. I just happen to have that on hand because we're going to be making some whipped cream in just a moment. Oh, there we go. It takes very little liquid to really get a good glaze going. Very little, so just be a little judicious with your liquid because before you know it, you'll have soup and that won't stick to your baked goods. Okay. All right. Now I'm just going to give that a little taste test. See where we are. It's pretty good. You can taste the vanilla. And you have to be careful with vanilla because vanilla will also color your icing. If you're using powdered sugar, it's going to take on a little bit of a darker hue. Okay. All right. So we can drizzle or we can just sort of spread over the top. And I think that's what we'll do. We're just going to spread some of this icing over the top. They're nice and cool. Now I have 2 people who really don't want sugar, so I'm going to leave 2 plain. Or maybe more than that. And that way, if they want more than one, they can have more than one. I'm just going to take the remaining sugar and finish these others off nicely. I'm going to try and get the whole triangle there. Covers the whole thing. Lovely. Lovely, lovely. The scones themselves are not terribly sweet, if you recall, so the icing will add a bit of sweetness. And the cream will have very little sugar in it. It always does. But we'll also be using powdered sugar for that too, because we're going to make some chantilly cream. So, okay, then I'm going to leave these three plain. And there you go. Beautiful for those that don't want that sugar. And the rest, we have plenty of scones for the rest. All right, now we're going to make our chantilly cream. Okay, I have 1.5 cups of real cream. That's whipping cream, heavy whipping cream. And see how heavy it is? It sticks to the jar too, so I just kind of scoop it out. Let's not waste any if we can help it. And I'm going to add just another little touch of vanilla. There's not very much in there, so maybe 1/2 teaspoon. And I have 1/4 cup of powdered sugar, but I may not use it all. So I'm going to lift my bowl and I'm going to start whipping. I'm going to start with about 1/2 of that. Okay. They call this chantilly cream because it's made with powdered sugar. If it was made with regular sugar, it's just whipped cream. But how lovely does chantilly cream sound? So that's what we're making. And I want to get this not too stiff. I'm not looking for those big, peaks. I really want to have a loose cream. So when you pile it on top of your scone, it's nice and easy and runny. So we'll just let this go for a few minutes. All right, I think I have reached the point that I need to reach with this whipped cream. And it really only took about a tablespoon of that powdered sugar to give us that chantilly cream. And I'm going to put it in a lovely little gravy boat that matches the china I'm going to use today. And they'll be able to put a dollop, just a dollop of cream on anything they wish. So lovely, lovely, lovely. And it's nice and loose. I didn't want that really stiff whipped cream. So this is just what the doctor ordered, just what we were looking for. And now I'm just going to keep that refrigerated until it's time to put it on the table. But before we go anywhere, I took the tiniest scone and I'm going to give it a little taste myself. And let's see how we did. Cooking with almond flour is challenging, I gotta say. So, all right, that's good. That's good so far. A little cream, a little bit of my scone. A little lot. That is really pretty good. That is really pretty good. It's going to be good with or without the icing. With or without. Oh yeah, that's really good. You can taste those golden raisins in there. Those walnuts. Oh man. Yeah. That is really good. Really good. So I'm getting ready to put these on the table. I have my little coffee cake. I have my whipped cream. I have my scones. We're going to make some bacon and eggs. I have a little coffee. So if you like this recipe, just go to almost-martha.com. And that recipe will be there along with all the other recipes that I've made. Oh man, that's really good. Well, there is nothing that whipped cream can't make even better, I've got to tell you. But almostaskmartha.com to get the recipes. And thank you for joining. And I hope that you make it. And if you have somebody that's a little sugar sensitive in your life, this is a good recipe to go to with the almond flour and the honey. So hope you enjoy it. Hi, Mom. Hope you're good. I'll talk to you soon. I'll call you. Okay. Or you can call me. Doesn't matter. Okay. Bye. I'll see you next time.